Federal government seeks 100% commitment to fostering conducive business environment. Oil prices on track for fourth straight week of decline. Alibaba's Hong Kong shares dropped 10%, dragging on Hang Seng as most Asia stocks fall. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Now let's bring you up to speed with business development. The federal government has inaugurated the third cohort of Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, calling its members to be on 100% committed to promoting a conducive business environment. At the inaugural meeting of the PEBEC at the Presidential Villa, Vice President Kashim Shettima implored members of the council to align themselves effortlessly with the 8-point renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration.
We need to support those businesses. We have a cohort, a program that's going to deliver and midwife and support those businesses. We continue to work on implementing our regulatory reforms, our judicial and legislative reforms.
Nigeria is gradually seeing in the last 10 years a decline in our GDP, over $140 billion in the last 10 years. So this is an attempt to bring that back. Of all the big businesses in Africa, over those businesses that have crossed the $1 billion mark, only a few of them, less than 30 in Nigeria, that represents only 7%.
The target is for us to improve on our ranking in terms of providing enabling business facilities so that Nigeria can catch up with the rest of the world in terms of providing facilities for investment and investors so that investment can thrive and businesses can grow.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinator Minister of Economy, Wale Edun, says foreign investors are not really interested in improving the nation's foreign direct investment due to rising inflation in Western countries and the need to keep interest rates high by tightening the money supply. He said the lack of investor appetite to invest in Nigeria means the government may turn to the corporate world for solutions and investments. Speaking at the 40th annual conference of the Chartered Institute of Directors in Abuja, the minister said the development is forcing the government to depend on our domestic resource mobilization. The conference has as its theme driving Nigeria's economic transformation and diversification, the role of corporate governance. The Naira on Thursday appreciated against the dollar, gaining 0.88% to 1,125 Naira to a dollar after steadying at 1,135 Naira to a dollar for 30 days in the black market. Let's now see how much is the Naira exchanging for other currencies on the official window. Youths drawn from the states under the North Central geopolitical zone say they are working on fashioning better ways on how to reduce youth unemployment in the country. This they intend to achieve through harnessing the economic potentials in the zones such as agriculture, tourism, and mining.
The farm in Kwara State will serve as a flagship model for modern agricultural practices, showcasing innovations, efficiencies, and environmental responsibility.
For you to move out of poverty in any developing nation, there must be sustained economic growth that must be at nothing less than 5%.
The increase in agricultural productivity in developing economies will not only engender food security, but can also act as a major source of foreign exchange. Now, harnessing new sources of economic strength to achieving sustainable development in Nigeria shall be the focus of our discussion of the program. And to do justice to this is the coordinator, Youth Farm Initiative, Ibrahim Razak JJ. You're welcome to Business Express. Well, I understand that you are the chairman of the Youth Economic Summit, Mr. Razak?
Yes, by God's grace.
Okay. I understand the choice of, what informed the choice of tourism, mining, and agriculture?
Thank you very much. You know, as a youth advocate who has been so much involved in advocating for youth empowerment and then nation building, day in, day out, we begin to think of what can we do to solve the problem of youth unemployment in Nigeria. And then again, we discovered that the economic focus of this country has been so dominating to crude oil alone, and we now begin to do research on what are the source of the economic survival of African countries. Then we discovered that some are surviving in terms of tourism, some are surviving with agriculture, some are surviving with education. And in Nigeria, we now look at a particular region which is not properly used to harness. So we look at the North Central as a region. When we talk about agriculture, the land is fertile. When we talk about mining, we have a lot of solid mineral. And then when we talk about tourism, we have a lot of attractive places, okay? Now, this thing, we will now decide to bring the youth together to dialogue on what we can bring out of these opportunities in these regions, and then that will tantamount to solving the problem of youth unemployment in the country. That's what prompted to that Youth and Economic Summit with the theme harnessing the agriculture, mining, and tourism opportunities in the North Central region of Nigeria, as it can solve the problem of unemployment.
Okay, with your findings, how do you think, how positioned are youths towards taking advantage of these opportunities, and how will they possibly complement government efforts towards addressing unemployment?
Yes, I want to say that youth are very, very ready, going by our assessment so far. So it's just that the proper government from their own angle too has a very good program, but lack proper monitoring of these programs to the grassroots, which has been the major issue. But we brought the youth, the program was a 2 days program. In fact, youth, there are a lot of youth who transported themselves to Abuja here and equally lodge themselves just because they are willing to make sure that they contribute their own quota to the youth development and equally make sure that they solve their problem by themselves. So when we gathered the youth, a lot of them brought a concept and then a blueprint of what they can produce if they go into agriculture, and then they came with a lot of attractive places in the North Central region, whereby if properly harnessed and with putting infrastructure in place, security, it will attract a lot of investors, and then it will equally create job opportunities. So youth are very, very ready to tap this opportunity, provided that the government of the day make an enabling environment for them to tap into it.
Okay, it surprised me that nothing was mentioned about technology, because it's actually another, youths are somehow tech savvy, and it's an opportunity. I mean, it's a big space which youths can really take advantage. What do you make of this particular part that you're missing in this whole idea of getting youths employed in the country?
Definitely, there is no how we'll be talking about youth involvement in agriculture, and we'll not even make mention of technology, because without involvement of technology, there is no way they can even improve when we talk about agriculture in the 21st century. Technology has been the greater factor when we talk about increase in production, when we talk about reducing the manpower, and of course boosting the economy. Today we have a lot of technology in place which have made the agriculture a very easy one. In fact, advocating for agricultural technology is what have made a lot of youth to pick interest in agriculture. Now, by telling them that the era of taking hold, cultivating for many hours without covering the required numbers of land is no more. That with the current technology, we can cover as many as you can within a short period of time. So, and then we cite the example of the invention of herbicides, drones, GPS, and then all those things that make agriculture very easier. A lot of them are ready to tap into agriculture, provided that these technologies are made available to them to increase the production and then, boost the Nigerian's economy.
So are you not looking at partnerships with maybe the private sector to see how you can complement each other towards getting these youth engaged,
Yes, thank you very much, because one of the major problems used to face is the problem of number one, the required capital, and then to start, and then number two is the problem of off-taker. So we now decided to, we have, for example, we have Dangote, we have Flour Mill, we have Boa, which are part of their products are still the uses of this agricultural output. So we want to, seek for their partnership, if provided that they can provide seedlings or introduce some of their resources, some of their products they want to us to produce, and after the production, then they can, come in to buy it. Like one we did last in Ejiba, in Kwara State. So we partner with Dangote Rice Limited, whereby they provided us with input. They gave it to us as loan. Then after the whole process, we produce, they buy the products, then deduct their money, then give us the profit. So that is what we tend to do with any private sector that is ready. And of course, government too. So we are looking for the support of government in the aspect of making land available, providing irrigation available too, for us to be able to farm in dry season as well. So partnership can go a long way in solving the major problem youth are facing in agriculture.
Okay, another thing is the fact that the federal government have prioritized food security as one of its 8-point agenda. I don't know whether there's any form of partnership or you people positioning yourself to see how you can key into most of these programs.
Yes, and definitely. So at any point in time, so we are trying to, meet with the people at the aim of affairs of these various programs of government to see how we can actually enjoy the benefit of it, like security we just mentioned. At anywhere we have the location of our farm, we always have a good relationship with the Nigerian Civil Defense and then Nigerian Police Force to make sure that the life and properties of our members are secure. So because presently, especially in the North Central region, security has been one of the major problems, and then which has been one of the great factors used to consider when we call them to partake in farming activities. So I think with the present condition of the country in terms of security, so if not of recent incident that occur in Benue State, I think we are good to go.
Okay, so then if the issue of security is addressed, possibly issue of access to capital is also addressed, we'll definitely see young people going into farming, right?
Yes, definitely.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the program, Ibrahim Razak JJ. We wish you good luck on your youth farm initiative.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The other Commissioner for Insurance and Chief Executive Officer of the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, Mr. Sunday Thomas, has enjoined federal and state governments to begin to make adequate provisions for insurance of public buildings and buildings under construction in their respective annual budgets. Thomas spoke at the 12th meeting of the National Council of Lands, Housing and Urban Development held in Kaduna State. Reduction in the federal and state government expenditure in event of disaster that may affect citizens by shifting the burden to the risk bearers. Hence, restoration will not be settled from taxpayers' money. He said these categories of insurance are made compulsory by extant insurance laws in Nigeria and thus must be complied with by all. And according to Thomas, Section 64 of the Insurance Act 2003 makes it mandatory for individuals, governments and corporate organizations that undertake the construction of any building above 2 floors to procure a builder's liability insurance policy from any of the NICOM's licensed insurer in Nigeria. As the 2023 fiscal year gradually comes to an end, with most Nigerians looking forward to the December festivities, the issue of high inflationary rate is becoming worrisome. Correspondent Informa Aikoji reports.
A cursory look at prices in the local markets revealed that there is a high inflation rate, which poses a negative challenge on the Nigerian economy. From the exorbitant cost of production to the prices of food items and the recent exponential increase in fuel price and transportation fare, Nigerians say these have all contributed in no small measure to impoverishing citizens.
It's so terrible. People can hardly eat. You can't buy anything. You can't eat what you want to eat. Your life is just becoming miserable. The question is, how do we survive this? It has come to a point we want to ask, what offense have we committed?
Can I talk about garri? Can I talk about beans? Can I talk about biscuits that you normally buy for the children to take to school? The biscuit you normally buy 50 naira has increased to 70, 80 naira. My dear, it's something else. We parents sometimes, in fact, the reason why the hospital has been filled with patients is because of inflation. As a matter of fact, we are all dying, and we seriously need God to intervene.
Imagine going to buy a basin of garri. It sells for 7,000 plus and 9,000, 10,000. Like the price is not even stable.
While some consider insecurity and unpredictable political atmosphere as the bane of the economy, other residents of Yenigua blame the recent economic trend on poor monetary policies and their implementations.
For example, if you're an earner of maybe 100,000, you should be aware that your 40,000 of that money will go for charges, and you're left with maybe 60, and that 60 you're not even getting what you actually want. You are forced to take whatever is being offered on transfer. So life around this time is miserable.
Before govs were, let me say 7.5%, but now the thing has increased to, almost double.
Market oil prices were on track for the fourth straight week of decline as they remain little change in early Asian trade after slipping about 5% to a 4-month low on Thursday on worries over global demand. Brent futures were up 10 cents at $77.52 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was nearly flat at $72.95. Both indices have lost around a sixth of their value over the last 4 weeks. Let's now see how commodities are trading around the world. Now let's go to capital market where Bosade is standing by for a global update. Bosade, give us a sense of investors' sentiment in the market.
All right, Musa, and here are the figures for today. A final reading of Eurozone inflation showed a sharp slowdown, with October's year-on-year inflation reading coming in at 2.9% compared to 4.3% in September, according to statistics. European markets were in the green on Friday after a reversal of momentum in previous session. DAX, FTSE and CAC posted positive gains. Hong Kong stocks led declines in Asia markets on Friday as shares of Alibaba plunged in early trading, while most markets cooled off from a midweek rally sparked by hopes of ease of doing business. I beg your pardon. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index fell 2.12% in the final hour of trading. Shanghai Composite top 0.11% at 3,054.37, and the Nikkei also top 0.48% across 33,585.20. Stock futures in the U.S. slightly rose on Friday as investors looked to keep this month's gains going. S&P futures advanced 0.2% at 4,532.25. The Dow Jones Industrial Average top 0.22%, and the Nasdaq Composite also rose 0.01%. For Africa, Namibia, South Africa and Ghana closed the day's trade positive, while Tunisia dipped 0.03% at 8,471.60. That's the global market review to close this week's transaction. I am Bosade Abel. Over to you, Musa.
Thank you, Bosade. Well, quite a good result for most of the markets out there. Well, this is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Monday at 3 p.m. I'm Musa Bakar. Do have a lovely weekend.